Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gore Call, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, happy to have him back again, Scott Burton, CEO of FansUnite Entertainment, traded in the CSE under Fans. Gotta love that symbol, one of my favorite ones, and FUNFF for our friends in the US. For those of you new to the story, you can guess what the company does. The global online gambling market could potentially hit $1 trillion by the end of this decade. The catalysts are A, just number of people going online, and B, the number of countries and jurisdictions that are now legalizing it because they want to keep that tax revenue for themselves. But small cap investors haven't been able to really participate in this space because it's dominated by the big traditional gambling companies. That all changes with FansUnite. We call them the small cap iGaming super company. And we say that because they go beyond simple gambling and they attack both sides of the iGaming market. B2B, as being a backbone to many platforms out there, providing them games, and we'll talk about that. And B2C, as you can imagine, going direct to the consumer, direct to the gamblers with offerings there as well. Scott, welcome back.
Hi, George. It's good to be back.
The press release you put out, FansUnite Entertainment applies for UK gambling licenses. Typically, applying for any kind of license and all that wouldn't really, you think, to the casual observer, wouldn't be something that's so newsworthy or even worthy about talking about an interview. But in the press release, you said the UK gambling licenses are widely regarded as the gold standard for lawful gaming operations. So talk to us about how big of a move this is and then what we should expect out of that process.
Yeah. It's big for us for what you just said. I mean, it is the gold standard. So you have a gambling license there, and I think there's no question you can go, around the globe and do that. And so a lot of people have the licensing question, especially in the space we're in, as we move more and more to regulation and new countries. People have that comfort knowing that we can get a license like the UK. It isn't one we had initially, so we have Malta. So that's a multi-jurisdictional license, which allows us to operate in 150 plus countries. We have access to a few others. But UK was really, we do some business there with our sportsbook McBookie, who isn't currently under one of our licenses. So when you're using someone else's license, there's a cost associated to that.
Right.
We wanted to help eliminate some of the costs in the McBookie business because they're doing amazingly on top line revenue. Doubled last year, probably doubling this year. We can take significant costs out by taking licensing back into the company, so FansUnite. But then what it also allows us to do is, because it is one of the biggest gambling markets in the world, and then because it is highly regulated, to be a technology provider into a UK licensed operator, you will need a UK license. So it's just an extension of us really trying to be the global gaming company that we are and intend to be. So that was a piece that was missing for us in terms of an area where we want to be able to offer our software. And that was the UK. So getting that license will allow us to offer our B2B product in there, in addition to helping McBookie cut some costs out of their business.
What's the process like? What do you expect? What's the expectation as far as actually being, approved by the UK gambling authorities, so on and so forth? I would assume you guys obviously have a great reputation, but I would also assume they have very high standards. So what's the probability, and then what's the timeline for acquiring it?
So yeah, the likelihood is high for us. So having been through a number of jurisdictions before, and I've been through the UK process as well. We've been previously licensed in the Isle of Man, which used to be on the UK's whitelist of jurisdictions when they had one. They eliminated that in 2015, but that meant that you were able to market and advertise in the UK because you'd been through their standards. So we've passed technical audits in Isle of Man previously. We've been licensed there. We've passed technical audits in Malta. So the process will be similar to what we've gone through in those two jurisdictions. It's heavy around due diligence on major shareholders, which we're very comfortable with because we've done that a few times. Technology-wise, we're very happy about. So there will be a tech audit that's post-license. So we'll obtain the license before the audits. So yeah, it's mostly just a matter of time right now for us and then getting through their process. So we really spent months leading up to the application to get ready. So everything's done, submitted, and now it's them. The estimates always vary, but and I think it's in that 6 to 10 week range is when we should have the approvals, we believe. So we'll keep people posted as that goes
pretty
along.
good. Okay, 2 to 3 months. I thought it might have taken longer. So hey, we can all wait 2-3 months. That moves by lightning fast nowadays. What do you think would be the bigger emphasis there? Because B2C, you've got McBookie. Would you try and create more B2C, or is it more the B2B where you have a really big advantage and you don't have to spend a ton of money trying to acquire customers?
Yeah, right now it's B2B. So we'll have 2 licenses. We'll have the B2B and B2C. UK is a huge market, but it's also one of the most competitive.
Sure.
And our model has been in those markets where like the US right now and the UK is we're better positioned on the technology front. Obviously, we'll be supporting McBookie and their B2C, but we don't have any immediate plans to try and launch any more B2C in the UK. If we came across opportunities around M&A that like the McBookie was, which was a great acquisition, we'd look at that. I think, but in terms of launching a brand in the UK, we don't have any plans to do that at the moment and focus on the B2B side of our business.
So on the B2B side, like you said, naturally, there has to be heavy competition there. But you guys have done a great job of differentiating yourself because you're not just providing the same old boring, slot and casino games, all that. I guess that's where Ascot comes in. Maybe you can explain to everyone how many games Ascot already has created, how many more they're going to create, and why they're so cool that you've actually got operators saying, yeah, we want to take these games on.
Yeah, so the games, we developed our games side of the business last year to start producing our own casino games, so built on a random number generator. And what we were trying to do, or what we saw was missing, knowing the sportsbook space, everybody needs casino to help support the revenue and push users there. But there weren't the games that appealed to the same demographic, that 18 to 30-year-old gamers. So we started producing games that are video game look and feel, esports themes, really appeal to that user base. And so yeah, we're getting great feedback. We set out to build a number of games. Our aim was 4 to 5 before we started the real business development. So, everyone we've talked to date has shown massive interest and wants to look at the games and take them into their products. So we needed to get to about a suite of 4 or 5 before it made sense to start working with aggregators who bring in content from all the different providers and then plug those into casinos and sportsbooks. So we're actually started our 5th game now, and our 4th one's just completing testing. So we've hit that milestone of 4 to 5, and now we're going to push on more business development to get those out there. Obviously, when we get the UK license, we'll be able to do that in that market, and that was one of the motivators for doing it. We do intend to have at least 10 out this year. So we are speeding up.
10 games or 10 aggregators?
So 10 games and multiple aggregators. So we did announce we've done one aggregator deal, and we are in their integration pipeline now. So the integration has begun with our first aggregator. So we were a bit at the mercy of their timeline of when they could start to do our integration. So that is happening. So we'll be able to let people know when those go live on the first aggregator. And then now we're starting to move on the next ones to push them into more aggregators now.
And what a lot of people don't realize is naturally they would probably assume from a business model point of view, you generate revenue through licensing, either sale or just a license, but you also participate in ongoing as a piece of the pie, right?
Yeah. So with the games, it is a revenue share. So for every operator that these games land on, we'll be sharing the revenue from every operator. So just as an example, the first platform we're integrating with has 120 plus operators. So that's potentially, we can squeeze into 120 operators. Then we do a revenue share on that. And again, the nice part about it for us is, we just really make the game once. That game's made, and then we can push it through the distribution model into hundreds or thousands of casinos, hitting thousands and millions of players, and we share revenue from every spin or pull or whatever the game may be. So yeah, huge upside potential on the games.
And have you guys got a real advantage there as a publisher of these games? Because I've seen them. We've flashed some across the screen during this interview, but really at the end of the day, I don't know how to assess those versus the competition. Probably a lot of people at home don't. But what kind of feedback are you hearing from operators as to their appetite for the kind of games and the really great action that you guys are providing them?
Yeah, it's been really positive. I mean, everyone we've shown just clips to, like we haven't gone in depth with a lot of people, but the operators we're showing to, we get an immediate introduction to their aggregator, the provider they're working with. So we have warm introductions to every aggregator out there and customer pull, which is really what we're looking for. So as opposed to us trying to force them into aggregators and push them out, we're able to go at it from the other side where we show an operator what we have, and then they're pulling it through their aggregators. So the feedback has been great.
That's great.
And it's kind of what we expected and why we did it, but everybody's saying it's the exact type of thing they're looking to add, especially if you look at some of the newer brands in sportsbook that are trying or are skewing a bit younger. So, I think DraftKings, for example, probably has an average age of about 27. You look at the Barstool Sports fans, they're a younger fan. So having casino games that they're going to want to play is a huge piece of the puzzle going forward for operators as they try and get new users. So that's why the esports product we have is great. Same thing, bringing in a younger user. And then having a casino game for them to play is going to be key for any successful operator going forward.
Yeah, that's why I love the Ascot Games part of your business. If you were just going into boring old slots and all that, you'd be going to a very competitive space. But you'd also be going into a space that is probably maxed out, maybe slowly dying off, and it's the new blood. Look, like everything today, you want to be where the new blood is, really, right? And and you can really make a difference there. Let's talk about a couple more things on just the biz dev side. Canada's going through some significant potential changes to the legislation. We've talked about this. Single event betting is on the table. Where is that right now in Canada, and how do you guys plan to capitalize on that?
Yeah, so Canada, the bill for single event betting is it's passed 2 readings in the House of Commons. It's headed to the Justice Committee. So then what will happen is the Justice Committee will make recommendations or changes if they have any. It'll go back for a final reading, and then it'll move to the Senate to be voted in. So the last, we heard was that you never know, because the Justice Committee deals with legislation first or anything. So there's not a firm date on that, but everyone seems pretty optimistic that by May that should be all the way through. We're hopeful that that's the case. So late spring is when it's expected to maybe have that passed. Opens up, obviously, single event betting initially for government operators. So the provincial lottery corps will then be able to make a decision on if they want to accept bets on single events and how they're going to do that. So I guess that's the first opening for us with our platform. There's a whole bunch of unique products that come along with single event betting that the provincial operators would not have right now at all. So we have ability to potentially partner in that front on a technology side. That's the first one. Then the next one would be Ontario talking about opening up to outside operators. The Alcohol Gaming Commission of Ontario is going to be leading that, where they will be the regulator, allow or offer the opportunity for outside operators outside of the government to move into that province. So we're quite hopeful on that as well. It was in the Ontario budget. The first request for opinions from operators came out last week from Ontario, so we'll be participating there. And then from that point, it'll be a push to figure out the regulation, which I think they're far along. So we're hopeful there, and that opens up 2 things. One, we can be a provider of technology to a lot of new entrants in the market, who are looking to come in. So they may not be in Canada, they may not be in gambling at all right now. So you look at media companies, telcos, we're poised to be a platform provider for any of them. Again, there'd be opportunities to launch a brand.
Yeah, that's great. Who knows? Maybe a Gorecom will launch something with right? You never know, but that's a powerful way to go about it. And finally, U.S. expansion. How's that looking? Because you guys made history with creating the first ever dedicated esports sports book in the U.S., and you've been expanding on some other fronts there as well. How's the U.S. expansion looking?
Yeah, it's looking really good. So we announced the first esports book coming. We're pretty close to, I think, having that go live with the Sky Casino in Colorado. So we'll definitely be back when that happens, when it's live and taking bets in that state. From that has led a lot of opportunities. So being approached around, again, the platform, not just from an esports side, but from a sports betting side. So we are talking to people now about entering that market. We're being pulled into a few states in some of those conversations. So we have kicked off our New Jersey application process. And then we're just assessing which ones will be next, really based on the business opportunities. I don't think we'd really anticipated applying for licenses in the U.S. at this stage, but the opportunities are there, and we're being asked to try and partner with some folks there. So that's why we've begun that process now.
Suffice to say, Scott, the company is in a great position. It just seems like on all fronts, you know, the existing business doing well. You've got the multi licenses. Now you're applying for the UK licenses. You've established yourself in the States, and more people are asking you to partner up with them there. Canada, you just talked about. Is the company firing on all cylinders?
Yeah. I mean, it's starting to feel like that. You know, one of the things was we did finance, so we raised money, closed in January, and we needed to ramp up and move faster. So I think since then, in the last 4 or 5 weeks, I think we've added 11 people to the team on the development side, on customer support side. So we're still hiring aggressively, but it's really to get ourselves up to that all cylinders firing, which all the opportunities are there. Every piece of the business is sort of poised for the growth. So now we're got the capital was really the last piece we needed to accelerate, and we're doing that now. So yeah, we're well positioned cash wise, lots of opportunities, and bringing the people in the final licenses to be able to do it all.
And you've got the stock. You've got a nicely valued stock, great liquidity. What does that mean for M&A? Because if I'm George Com, a private iGaming company that's doing well, and I want to try and get my liquidity event, I'm assuming I'm looking at companies like FansUnite. How's your M&A strategy looking, if at all? You know, do you have an aggressive M&A strategy for 2021?
Yeah, we absolutely do. You know, we're looking at a lot right now, and it's partly, I think, the strength of our board that we're getting a lot of opportunities in front of us, and opportunities that probably not everyone or aren't necessarily shopping right now. So we're seeing some great companies. We're being pretty selective, but we do intend to act on some of these ones that are in front of us, definitely this year, hopefully in the short term. But it is a big piece of our plan this year is to execute on a few more deals, significant ones like Fans did the McBookie deal. We did the Ascot and Fans merge. So those aren't small deals, and we're looking to do a few more that would be pretty transformational for the business.
Scott, congrats, man. Every single time we talk, the company gets stronger and stronger. Its tentacles just spread farther and farther. And like I said in the intro to everybody, the global online gambling market is expected to potentially hit $1 trillion by the end of the decade. And if you follow the Agoracom thesis that more wealth is going to be created from small cap disruptive companies this decade than the last 3 decades combined, FansUnite fits right there, because all the global Goliaths kind of dominated for the longest time, but we all know that new technology companies come along. They're nimble, they're faster, and they can get a lot of stuff done. And I think you guys are right there. And I love how you guys are moving along. We're shareholders. We're happy, and I'm assuming everyone else is happy at home. Last words to you, Scott, for what you want to say to your shareholders in terms of where things are going.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I mean, we're just at the early stages of this. Obviously, there's been some volatility in the market in the last couple of weeks, and gaming's not been able to get away from that. But I look at the strength of the the stock, the liquidity, and our ability now to execute with capital behind us. And we're still only 50% of the U.S. licensed. Canada hasn't even done it yet. So it's going to be, I think, a good ride for, as you said, I mean, this next 5-10 years in this space, especially in North America, is got tons and tons of upside. And I think we're well positioned as an early stage company to be a dominant player in the next 5 to 10 years for sure.
Yeah, and that's how, I mean, we can't give investors advice, so we're not giving anyone advice at all. You've got to go talk to your own advisors, partners, people. But the fact of the matter is, true wealth is created when you find a good company and believe in it and say, okay, I'm going to stick around for this company's growth. Constantly keep measuring it, make sure they're still on plan, make sure they're still on track. Everything is going fine. But in this case, FANS just raised a ton of money. They got incredible financial resources. So it's hard. Or let me say the opposite. It's pretty easy to make the case for, well, I'm going to give Scott and his team a couple of years here to see what they can do with this cash, his new licenses, the new opportunities. And I hope that's the way people are kind of looking at FANS, as long as you do your own due diligence and decide that fits your thesis, because we can't do that for you. Thanks for joining us, Scott. Continued success. Can't wait to have you back on in short order.
All right. Thanks, George.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platforms, to Scott Burton, CEO of FansUnite Entertainment, trades on the CSC under FANS, and for Fans US, FUNFF, FUNFF. Get to Agoracom, get the company's profile, do your due diligence, and then from there, link over to the FansUnite site, do more due diligence. Hopefully today you discovered your next great small cap iGaming company. Thanks for joining us. Don't say we didn't tell you so 12 months from now. Have a great day. See you next time.